Listen to me for a second. Before you buy coffee, before you hand over that change, before you spend a single penny, there is hidden wealth sitting in pockets right now. A silent fortune that nobody talks about. Coins that look ordinary, but collectors are fighting over them in real auctions. I'm serious. Check your pocket now. Some of these pennies can change everything, and people are accidentally spending them every day. Do not spend these coins. What I'm about to show you is quiet money, life-changing money, and every coin we reveal gets rarer, scarier, and more valuable. Stay till the end, because the last one, that one doesn't just shock people, it ruins them when they realize they let it go. First up, you know what's terrifying about this penny? It doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't look special. It looks like something you'd flick across a table or drop into a jar and forget forever. And that's exactly how fortunes get erased. Because the 1937 wheat penny with no mint mark is the kind of coin that destroys people emotionally when they realize what they had and what they spent. This is not fiction. This is one of those quiet, sneaky pieces of hidden wealth that lives in plain sight, and most people miss it. Here's the part that should make your stomach tighten. 1937 was not a calm year in America. The country was still crawling out of the Great Depression. Money was tight. People were nervous. Factories were under pressure. The U.S. Mint wasn't just making coins, they were racing against economic fear, political tension, and massive demand for everyday change. When a nation is stressed, mistakes happen. When machines are pushed, dies wear out. When production speeds up, quality slips. And that's exactly how rare survivors are born. This penny came out of Philadelphia. That's what no mint mark really means. It sounds boring. It sounds normal. But collectors are obsessed with Philadelphia issues from this era because this is where production stress quietly creates monsters. Millions were made, yes, and almost all of them are gone. Lost, worn into dust, cleaned to death, damaged, or spent without a second thought. Finding one today in very fine condition is already hard. Finding one that still feels original, still has the right skin, still has the right presence, that's where the real money starts. Pick it up and look at the front. Abraham Lincoln is staring back at you, and not in that soft, modern way. His portrait here has sharp authority, deep lines, and that serious pre-war intensity. You'll see "In God We Trust" above him, "Liberty" to the side, and the date 1937 sitting there like it's nothing. But that date is the trap. That date is the door. On the back, you've got the two wheat ears framing 1 cent and United States of America. Simple, honest, and completely underestimated. That design screams common, and that's why people destroy them without even knowing it. This coin is mostly copper, about 95%, with a little tin and zinc mixed in. It feels solid, real. It weighs about 3.11 grams. The diameter is about 19 millimeters. The thickness is roughly 1.5 millimeters. And when you hold it between your fingers, there's a certain density to it, a quiet seriousness. It doesn't feel like modern junk. It feels like history that survived. And survival is the whole story here. Most 1,937 pennies lived brutal lives. They were used during hard times. They were carried, dropped, scraped, stacked, and spent again and again. Kids played with them. Stores abused them. People cleaned them. And that's the real crime. Let me say this clearly. Never clean this coin. Cleaning destroys the original surface. It strips away the natural skin. It kills the value. Collectors don't want shiny. They want honest. They want original toning, even if it's dark, even if it's brown, even if it looks old. Especially if it looks old. The coin you're looking for should still show wheat lines. Lincoln's hair should still have texture. The lettering shouldn't be melted into the surface. That's what very fine really means. It's lived, but it's not dead. And when you find one like that, untouched, unpolished, unmessed with, you're not holding change anymore. You're holding a silent fortune. Now here's where obsession kicks in. Collectors don't just look at the date. They look at tiny details. The spacing of letters, the sharpness of the numbers, the strength of the wheat lines, the way the fields look under light. And yes, the missing mint mark. That empty space is not empty to them. It's loaded. It means Philadelphia. It means main production. It means die pressure, speed, stress, and variation. It means this coin came from a time when perfection was not the priority. Survival was. And auctions, they don't look like movies. They're quiet, dangerous quiet. 2 or 3 people who know exactly what this is, sitting there, not blinking, not talking, just waiting. Then suddenly, numbers start jumping. Fast, aggressive, personal. Because they're not buying a penny. They're buying a piece of American stress. A survivor. Something they can't easily replace. And once these go into collections, they don't come back out. Supply shrinks. Demand climbs. That's how serious money is made. That's how you get numbers like $400,000 attached to something people throw into tip jars. Let me warn you again, do not spend this coin. If you think you've found one, don't clean it. Don't rub it. Don't improve it. And don't trust your own eyes alone. Professional grading is critical. One tiny surface mistake can mean the difference between nice penny and life-changing opportunity. What should you check first? The date, then the mint mark, or the lack of one, then the surface, then the detail, and most importantly, your patience. Because rushing, cleaning, or flipping too fast is how people delete their own wealth. Right now, this 1937 wheat penny isn't just a coin. It's hidden wealth, quiet money, the kind that waits for the right person to notice it. And somewhere, someone is about to spend 1 for 1 cent. Stay with me, because what comes next makes this one look polite. The next coin is rarer, more hunted, and far more dangerous to ignore, and most people don't even know it exists. Next up, this is the kind of coin that gets thrown away. I'm serious. This is the penny people call ugly, the one that looks broken, wrong, discolored, even fake. The one someone finds in a drawer and says, "This is trash." And that's exactly why this coin is so dangerous. Because the 1943 wheat penny with an S mint mark that looks rusty and ugly is not trash. It's a trap. A quiet, brutal trap that has erased more hidden wealth than almost any other penny in American history. You have to understand what 1943 means. This wasn't a normal year. This was full World War II. America was bleeding money, metal, resources, and time. Copper was needed for bullets, wires, and weapons. The mint was under insane pressure, and that pressure changed everything. That's why, in 1943, pennies were supposed to be made of steel, not copper. They were supposed to look silver, light, cheap, temporary, emergency money for an emergency world. So when you see a 1943 penny that looks brown, dark, or rusty, your brain says, damaged steel, corroded junk, worth nothing. And that single thought has destroyed fortunes. Because a tiny number of 1943 pennies was struck on the wrong metal. Copper planchets from 1942 accidentally got fed into the presses, and a few of those mistakes came out and escaped into circulation. Now add something even more intense. This one has an S mint mark. San Francisco. A wartime mint. Lower production. More chaos. More pressure. More opportunity for impossible mistakes. Look at the design. On the front, Lincoln doesn't look soft. He looks tense. The country was tense. "In God we trust" is above him like a prayer. Liberty sits to the side. The date, 1943, is the most dangerous number on the entire coin. On the back, the two wheat ears frame 1 cent. Simple, honest, and hiding one of the greatest mint errors in U.S. history. Now here's where people get fooled. The real ones often look ugly. They can be dark. They can look dirty. They can look old. The surface can look wrong. And that's because they're not steel. They're mostly copper, about 95% copper with a little tin and zinc. They weigh around 3.11 grams, not the lighter steel version. The diameter is about 19 millimeters, the thickness about 1.5 millimeters. In the hand, it feels heavier, denser, more serious. But nobody checks. They just look at the color and throw it away. And listen to me very carefully here. Do not clean this coin. Ever. The moment you clean it, you might erase the very evidence that proves what it is. Original surfaces matter. Original color matters. Even ugly, dark, scary-looking surfaces matter. Cleaning can turn a $360,000 coin into a conversation piece. Most of these coins didn't survive. Think about it. A weird brown 1943 penny in a world full of silver-colored steel pennies? People assumed it was wrong. Fake. Damaged. They spent it. They scratched it. They tried to fix it. They destroyed it. That's why today, surviving examples are hunted like ghosts. Collectors don't hunt these like normal coins. They obsess. They test weight. They test magnetism. They study surfaces. They stare at the mint mark. That tiny S is not small to them. It's everything. It's the difference between a cool story and a life-changing object. And when one of these shows up at auction, the room changes. People stop breathing normally. Bidding doesn't start high. It explodes there. Quietly. Aggressively. 2 or 3 people who know exactly what this is start fighting without making a sound. Because they know they may not see another one for years. Right now, these can reach around $360,000. For 1 penny. A penny that looks wrong. A penny people still throw away. Let me warn you again. Do not spend this coin. If you find a 1943 penny that is not silver-colored, do not assume anything. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not test it with anything aggressive. And do not trust your own opinion. Professional grading and authentication is critical. This is not optional. What should you check first? The color, then the weight, then the magnet test, then the mint mark, then the surface, and then your patience. Because rushing is how people lose fortunes. This is hidden wealth, silent fortune, the kind that disguises itself as an ugly mistake. And somewhere right now, someone is about to throw one of these into a coin jar. Stay right here, because the next coin doesn't just break rules, it breaks logic. It's rarer, more shocking, and even more painful to realize you let it go. Next up, this is the penny that lives in the aftershock. The kind of coin nobody respects because the war is over. The headlines have moved on, and people think the danger is gone. That's exactly when history hides things. The 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark is not loud. It doesn't scream rare, it whispers. And that whisper has been costing people fortunes for decades. Think about 1946 for a second. America had just come out of World War II. The country was exhausted. Factories were switching back to civilian life. Machines were being pushed into new routines, and the U.S. Mint was under brutal pressure to normalize production fast. New systems, old equipment, rushed timelines. When a nation transitions, mistakes don't announce themselves. They slip through quietly. And coins from transition years are where collectors hunt like predators. Philadelphia struck this one. That's why there's no mint mark. And don't let that fool you. To collectors, that empty space is not empty. It means massive volume, stressed dies, speed over perfection, and subtle variations that only survive if the coin escapes abuse. Most didn't. Look at the front. Lincoln doesn't look heroic here. He looks tired. The lines in his coat and hair matter more on this coin than people realize. "In God we trust" sits above him like a promise the country is trying to believe again. Liberty is still there, and the date 1946 looks almost too normal, and that's the trap. On the back, the two wheat ears frame 1 cent and United States of America. Same design as before. Same look. Totally different moment in history. This coin is back to the classic copper composition, about 95% copper with a little tin and zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams. The diameter is roughly 19 millimeters. The thickness is about 1.5 millimeters. In the hand, it feels solid and warm, not like the steel emergency junk from a few years earlier. It feels like the country trying to be normal again. And that's why people treated it like nothing. But survival is the story. Post-war America spent these hard. People were moving, building, spending, restarting life. Coins like this didn't sit in drawers. They lived in pockets, in cash registers, on dirty counters. They were scratched, worn, dropped, and cleaned. And cleaning is the silent killer. Let me say this clearly: never clean this coin. The original surface is everything. The original skin is the value. You polish that away, and you don't just ruin a coin, you erase a future. In very fine condition, this penny still shows real detail. Lincoln's hair still has separation. The wheat lines on the back are still alive. The letters aren't melted into the surface. It looks honest, lived in, real, and that's what collectors want. Not shiny, not fake pretty, but original. Even if it's brown, even if it's dark, even if it looks old, especially if it looks old. Now here's where obsession starts. Collectors stare at tiny things most people never notice. The sharpness of the date, the edges of the letters, the way the fields look under light, and yes, the missing mint mark. That blank space is a magnet for serious buyers because it represents the heart of US production during a chaotic reset year. Why is this year so dangerous to ignore? Because transition years create silent rarities. Dies get overused. Presses get pushed. Quality control gets stretched. And the coins that survive in strong, original condition become the ones nobody wants to sell. They go into collections and they stay there. Supply gets thinner. Demand gets meaner. At auctions, these don't get hyped. They get stalked. The room stays quiet. The numbers jump anyway. 2 or 3 people who understand exactly what this is will fight without showing it. Because they know something most people don't. You're not buying a penny. You're buying a survivor from the moment America rebooted itself. That's how you get to values around $325,000. For a coin, people still drop into tip jars. Let me warn you, and I mean this, do not spend this coin. If you find a 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark, and it still has real detail, do not clean it. Do not improve it. Do not guess. Professional grading is critical. One wrong move can turn serious money into a regret story. What should you check first? The date, then the mint mark, or the lack of one, then the surface, then the detail, then stop and be patient. Because patience is how quiet wealth is kept. Rushing is how it's destroyed. This is hidden treasure, silent fortune, a coin that looks like nothing and lives like everything. And somewhere right now, someone is about to spend 1 for 1 cent. Stay right here, because the next coin doesn't come from recovery. It comes from a mistake so extreme that collectors still argue about it, and it makes this one look easy to find. Next up, this is the penny people try to wipe. The one they see with dark spots, old stains, strange patches of color, and their first instinct is to clean it up. And the moment they do that, they don't just ruin a coin, they erase a silent fortune. The 1948 wheat penny with no mint mark and an old spotted surface is one of the most misunderstood pieces of hidden wealth in American change. 1948 is a dangerous year to underestimate. The war is over, but the world isn't calm. America is rebuilding, spending, expanding, and pushing production hard. The US, mint is under pressure to keep up with a growing economy. Machines are aging. Dyes are being overused. Quality control is tired, and tired systems create quiet rarities. This coin came from Philadelphia. That's what that empty space under the date tells you. No mint mark. To most people, that means nothing. To collectors, it means mainline production under stress. It means subtle variations, worn dies, and coins that look normal until you really understand what you're seeing. On the front, Lincoln's portrait still has that post-war seriousness. In God we trust, arches above him, like a hope the country is still testing. Liberty sits to the side, and the date 1948 looks harmless. On the back, the two wheat ears frame 1 cent and United States of America. Same design everyone ignores. Same trap every time. The metal is the classic copper mix again, about 95% copper with a little tin and zinc. It weighs around 3.11 grams. The diameter is about 19 millimeters. The thickness is roughly 1.5 millimeters. In the hand, it feels warm, heavy for its size, and real. Not like modern coins. It has presence. And when it has old spots or natural toning, that's not damage. That's history on the surface. Those spots, that uneven color, that's what collectors call original skin. It proves the coin hasn't been messed with. And that's everything. Let me say this clearly. Never clean this coin. Never polish it. Never try to fix it. Original toning, even if it looks ugly, even if it looks dirty, can be the exact reason the coin is worth serious money. Cleaning destroys that forever. In fine condition, this coin still shows strong outlines. Lincoln's face is clear. The wheat lines are visible. The lettering is bold enough to read without guessing. It looks like a coin that worked for a living and survived. Most didn't. The late 1940s were brutal on small change. These were used, abused, and spent without mercy. And anything that looked spotted or dark got improved by someone with a cloth and quietly destroyed. Collectors don't see spots. They see honesty. They look at the fields under light. They check the edges of letters. They study the surface texture. And yes, they care deeply about that missing mint mark. That blank space means Philadelphia, and Philadelphia coins from stressed production years are hunted because they hide things you can't see at first glance. Why is survival so rare? Because nobody thought these were special. They were everyday money in a growing spending nation. They got cleaned, bent, scratched, and tossed. The number of truly original examples left today is tiny compared to how many were made. And the ones that still look untouched? They don't get sold easily. They get held. At auction, these don't get loud marketing. They get quiet tension. Bidding doesn't crawl, it jumps. 2 or 3 people who understand what original surfaces really mean start pushing the price up fast because they know something most people don't. You can't replace this kind of originality once it's gone. That's how you get to values around $300,000. For a penny with spots. For a penny someone right now is about to try to polish. Let me warn you again. Do not spend this coin. If you find a 1948 wheat penny with no mint mark and it has old toning or spots, do not touch the surface. Do not clean it. Do not experiment. Professional grading is critical. This is not optional when this kind of money is involved. What should you check first? The date, then the mint mark or the lack of one, then the surface, then the overall detail, and then stop and wait. Because patience is how collectors turn quiet objects into loud wealth. This is hidden treasure, silent fortune, a coin that disguises itself as ugly change. And somewhere right now, someone is about to destroy one with a cloth. Stay with me, because the next coin doesn't look old and spotted. It looks completely normal, and that's what makes it even more dangerous. Next up, this is the penny that tricks confident people, the one they think is too new to matter, the one they don't even slow down to look at. And that confidence? That's exactly how $250,000 disappears. The 1957 wheat penny with D mint mark is one of the most underestimated traps in American coin collecting because it sits right at the edge of the end. And the end is always where the rare stories hide. 1957 is a pressure year. America is deep into the Cold War era. The economy is booming. People are spending, moving, building. The US Mint is under massive demand to produce more coins, faster, with older equipment that's already lived a hard life. This is the kind of year where quantity beats perfection. And when quantity beats perfection, weird things slip through. This coin came from Denver. That's what the D mint mark stands for. And Denver, in the 1950s, was a workhorse mint. Machines running hard. Dies wearing out, presses being pushed. On paper, this should be a common coin. In reality, truly collectible survivors are anything but. Look at the design. On the front, Lincoln still carries that calm, serious expression. In God we trust above him. Liberty to the side. The date 1957 looks harmless, almost modern. And that's the danger. On the back, the two wheat ears frame, 1 cent and United States of America. This is the final era of the wheat design. A design that's about to disappear forever. And coins from the end of any long-running series are always watched closely by serious collectors. The metal is the classic mix, about 95% copper with a little tin and zinc. It weighs around 3.11 grams. The diameter is about 19 millimeters. The thickness is roughly 1.5 millimeters. It feels solid, warm, and heavier than modern cents. Real money from a different America. Now here's where people make the biggest mistake. This one is in circulated condition. That means it's been used. It's been in pockets. It's been in cash registers. It has a story. And most people think circulated means worthless. That assumption has cost people houses. Because what collectors care about here isn't perfection. It's originality, correctness, and survival. The right surfaces, the right look, the right details. Even with wear, a genuine, untouched 1957D wheat penny can be a monster if it has the right characteristics. And let me say this clearly, never clean this coin. Ever. Cleaning destroys the surface. It removes the natural skin. It wipes away the evidence collectors need. A cleaned coin can lose most of its value instantly. Even if it looks better to normal eyes, it's dead to serious buyers. Why is this year special? Because 1957 is right before the wheat penny disappears in 1950. The series is ending. Production is high. Dies are tired. Changes are coming. And in these end-of-series years, collectors know something the public doesn't. The last years hide some of the most aggressively collected varieties and survivors. Collectors fixate on tiny things. The sharpness of the date, the shape of the mint mark, the spacing of letters, the way the fields look under light, the texture of the surface. And that little D under the date, that's not little to them. It tells them exactly where this coin was born and what kind of production stress it came from. Why is survival rare? Because nobody saved these. In 1957, these were just pennies. They were used hard, spent hard, and abused hard. The idea that one could be worth serious money sounded insane. So almost all of them lived brutal lives. And the ones that survive today with the right look, the right feel, the right untouched surfaces, they go straight into collections. And they don't come back out. At auctions, these don't get shouted about. They get quietly hunted. Bidding starts calm, and then it jumps. 2 or 3 people who understand exactly what they're looking at start pushing, because they know they're not just buying a penny. They're buying the end of an era. That's how you get to numbers like $250,000 for a circulated coin. For a penny, someone is about to spend on purpose. Let me warn you one last time. Do not spend this coin. If you find a 1957 wheat penny with D mint mark, do not clean it. Do not assume it's common. Do not guess. Professional grading is critical. This is how you separate pocket change from hidden wealth. What should you check first? The date, the mint mark, the surface, the overall look. And then stop, slow down, be patient. Because patience is how quiet fortunes are kept. Rushing is how they're deleted. This is silent fortune, hidden wealth. A coin that hides at the very end of a story most people think already ended. And here's the part that should keep you awake tonight. Every single coin in this video still shows up in real life. In jars, in drawers, in pockets, in old collections nobody checks. These are not museum myths. This is not fiction. This is hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. If you remember one thing, remember this. Do not spend these coins. Do not clean them. Do not rush. The difference between 1 cent and life-changing money is knowledge and patience. So check your change. Check your old jars. Check your family's old boxes. Because someone somewhere is about to throw away a fortune. And it doesn't have to be you. This is crazy valuable coins. And if you think this was shocking, trust me. What we uncover next makes this look small.